Hello friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. I am Jenny and today we're going to return to our fantastic newfound love of Mangaves. Remember we were here, 6 weeks ago maybe, with Kata from Walter's Gardens, and we were talking about what Mangaves are and how we can use them in the garden. Kata and the sweet friends at Walter's Gardens were very kind to send us like 2-year-old plants, so they were nice and big, and that is what we potted up in that video. We were growing our Mangaves during that time, and they are now ready for sale. So what I wanted to do, because there are so many great different Mangaves out there, Brenna's back here playing with the pine cone, so if you hear a bunch of huffing and puffing, it's Brenna. Just focus on me. All right. So there's so many beautiful different Mangaves. A customer asked about them on Saturday, and I went up to go get some for her, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have got to do something with these beauties. We're going to come up with 2 different containers today. In this one, we're going to put a selection of 4 Mangaves, and I think I'm going to put in some ajuga as a little bit of a ground cover in here. That way these can be for me. I can be growing them, I will overwinter them, and then come next spring I will move them up to a larger container. So that's what we're going to do first, and then I have another container over here that we're going to use a Mangave with a Supertunia, one of the new cake pops, and the Safari Skies. So we're going to do a whole mixed container, a different way of using Mangaves. But what we're going to do first is this container of 4 different Mangaves and ajugas. So this will, quote, be a perennial container for me because I will overwinter and protect it. Now my pot is completely empty, and you know how I do when I do containers. We're going to fill the bottom third with our compost. We've got the Land and Sea right here, and we are working. I've got my ever wonderful Megan on the camera with me today, so it's a whole family affair between Mama, Megan, and Brenna. Brenna's here just for the show. But we are over here in the pines because it's a little bit shadier. It's a little cloudy of a day, but it's nice to be able to be in the shade because, you know, it is mid-June here in North Carolina. So I've got my compost in, and then I'm going to put my potting soil in. And as Megan just told me, she was like, Mama, don't forget your gloves. Because in the last video that we did when I was planting my seeds over at the dahlia bed, I sliced my hands all up. Oh, it was not pretty. So potting soil going in. I am going to leave myself a little bit of a lip, and I might try my pot trick, the one that we've been doing for a while. We'll see. I don't know if I'm going to do it or not. But all right, so let's talk about Mangave. So if you missed that video, I will link it above so you can check out the video with Kata because she is just a wealth of information. But basically, Mangaves it is this new, quote, creation that was developed at Walter's Gardens. Hans Hansen, along with Tony Avent, who is in Plant Delights Nursery in North Carolina, they kind of teamed up and worked together to come up with these Mangaves. Mangaves are a cross between an agave and a manfreda. So you breed them together and you get the look kind of an agave, right? So it's that very tropical sedum type look to it, succulent type look to it. But you get beautiful color variation and the ease of use of a manfreda. You can water them. They need a little bit more water than what the agaves are used to. That is why we can mix them with petunias and other mixed annuals. And they just come in this just array of colors and sizes and shapes. That is what is so cool about them. And the folks at Walters have done an amazing job naming them. So let me just show you. So when I was trying to pick them out, this is the Purple People Eater. Look at that. So it is a really fun, has some spots on it. You got to give it at least for the name. But the Purple people eater, you will also notice it doesn't just have one plant, it actually has 2 plants in there. So I am getting 2 for the price of 1. And it will have kind of an upright habit to it. This one will eventually get 12 to 16 inches tall and 2 feet wide. So we're gonna use that one. Then we're gonna use Bad Hair Day. I mean, seriously, y'all, the names of these plants are just so much fun. So you see, there's Bad Hair Day, and it is very upright, very spiky. It's like when I used to have a pixie haircut and I would wake up and the back of my hair was sticking up. Yeah, there you go. So Bad Hair Day is going to be 8 to 10 inches tall and 20 inches wide. So we're going to use that one as well. We're going to use Silver Fox. And Silver Fox, of course, is that gorgeous, kind of that silvery blue. Really nice, solid color. There's not going to be any speckles in there. So we have that, and Silver Fox, again, 8 to 10 inches tall, 18 inches wide. And then the last one we are going to do is Mission to Mars. Mission to Mars is going to be more of a red color. These have been in the greenhouse under somewhat of a UV protection. They need that full UV light to get all of their big color on it. So once these sit out in the full sun for about a week or so, then they will really start to show their color. Mission to Mars, again, 8 to 10 inches tall, 2 feet wide. So another good thing about the Mangaves is that they're typically not as dangerous as an agave. So they're not going to be nearly as pokey and sticky as a agave. So I think because my root system is not massively extensive on this, I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and just plant them the traditional way. We'll figure it out. All right, so I'm going to get these planted, and then we're going to come back and we're going to put some ajugas in. So I have all 4 of the Mangaves in here, very much that kind of succulent southwest kind of look to it. Now what I want to do though is to fill in with little tiny, a little bit of a ground cover, and I say that, you know, lightly, right? I mean, you could, if you wanted to, I suppose, if you didn't want to put any more plants in here, you could use like decorative gravel. You could just, of course, do your compost, like what a lot of times I will do. But I thought it would be fun to just add a whole nother little bit of a different dimension to this. So what I have is, I have the Feathered Friends, one of the ajugas. And remember, ajugas are a nice hardy perennial for us. They are evergreen. They're going to be hardy in zones of 4 to 9, and they can do like anywhere from sun to shade. So extremely adaptable. This particular color is Cordial Canary. Really fun, lime green, nice fine leaves on it. Now, this is a quart size container. So you can see that this is a nice size plant, right? Beautiful color on it, really fun little look. But I don't have room between my Mangaves to put a whole quart size container. So I think what I'm going to do is use my Hori Hori, and I'm going to divide it into little tiny little pieces and fill in, because ajuga is great. That's why we use it as a ground cover, because it will spread. It's not an invasive, like out of control spreader, but it definitely does spread. So that way I can just put little pieces in here and it'll fill in, and then as it grows it'll start to spill over. So we're going to slide this out of the way. And I've never, well, I won't say I've never done this to ajuga. I have done this to ajuga, but not in a pot. We recently repotted these because they were in smaller containers. So again, full size quart here, and you know I'm going to use one of my all-time favorite tools, my Hori Hori, and I'm going to use that to divide this up. Okay, so I've got Mr. Ajuga here is separated. It did pretty well. Ended up with 5 pieces. I probably could have more if I wanted to. So we're just gonna kind of look, again, first time experiment here. I did, when I was putting the Mangaves in, I did go ahead and sprinkle a smidge, a little dose of biotone in here. That way, because our root systems are not really super strong right now, and that's just because of time. These are just freshly planted plants. There's nothing wrong with the plants, it's just that they're babies. I guess Brenda didn't like the word babies. She's been a little on edge here lately. It's all right. Oh, jeez. So they're just babies. So I did sprinkle some of the biotone in there, so that way we have a nice little starter fertilizer for the roots. And we're going to, once I get the ajugas in, then we're going to top dress with the land and sea again. So I'm just going to get these tucked in here. This is a stick. Get all those snugged in, and the key to all of this is just to make sure that your roots are really well situated into the container. So do that, top dress with a little bit of land and sea, and then this pot will be done, and then we'll move over to the other mixed container. Alrighty, so container number 1 is planted and is doing well. I am going to take all of my tags and I'm going to stuff them down on the side because I do not trust myself to remember at all what the names of these are. So I will take them all off of their little stakes and get them slid down in there. I am not going to water this at this moment. I am going to wait until I take it. This will probably go on the our backyard patio, so I will wait until I get it in its final resting place, and then I will go ahead and water it then, because otherwise it's just heavy and then it drips water everywhere. So I've got my 4 Mangaves and my Feathered Friends tag. I'm going to come in to where I have room, and I'm going to snuggle it down right below the soil level, bring back my compost so that way it disappears and you don't see it. So, ta-da! There we go. Within just a matter of days, we're gonna have lots of an explosion of color. The Mangaves, they grow relatively fast compared to agaves. So, we got 1 container down, and we're gonna go ahead and get the other one done next. Alrighty, my friends, here we go. We are going to start on container number 2 using Mangaves. In this one, we are simply going to use 1 Mangave. This is Snow Leopard, and I chose Snow Leopard 1 because it's a beautiful plant, but 2 is currently my biggest. So let's see. There's the tag, there is Snow Leopard. You can see it has a beautiful dark green on the inside, pure white on the outside, and it will get some leopard spots on it. But this is going to be at its mature size. It will be 18 inches tall, 2 feet wide. Obviously, for this year, we're not going to worry about it getting to be too huge, but this is going to kind of act as one of my thrillers in this container. So we're going to use Snow Leopard. Then we are going to use 3 annuals rather. One is the beloved that I just have used a ton this year. This is a Supertunia Mini Vista White. Just pure white blooms on it. A fantastic plant, so easy. big color, big show, relatively low maintenance. It just needs water and some fertilizer, and this will be a spiller and it will spill over. It will do great. Then other two that we're going to use, now these again are babies because we ordered them in later. We've only had them for, I don't know, a couple of weeks where we're growing them. So I'm just telling you, they're little, but that's all right. I know their potential. So this is Cake Pops Purple. And Cake Pops is in the verbena family. It has beautiful lavender color blooms on it. And it will just get nice, I think it's 12 inches tall. I'll have to go back and look exactly on there, but will fill in and give me a really kind of light and airy look to it. It reminds me a lot of the verbena meteor shower, but not so rigid, much more kind of a weeping, flowing habit on that. And then we are going to use Safari Sky. This is actually also known as a South African phlox. So there is the tag on it. Again, this is a nice little baby, but a soft purple flower on the outside edge and that cream yellow, beautiful white center, nice airy look to it. And this is going to be extremely heat tolerant. So this does really well. I mean, it's South African phlox, right? So it loves the heat and the humidity. I did go ahead and grab two of those because the spacing on them is like 6 inches and they are small. So I went ahead and grabbed two. I will plant them as one. The Cake Pops, being that verbena, I know that it'll take off before we know it. So I just had one of those. Again, same song, different verse. Compost in the bottom, potting soil, and then plants. Trying to decide if I'm going to use biotone. Y'all know me, I normally don't use biotone with annuals, but I forgot to grab the Proven Winners time release fertilizer. So I am going to use the biotone, and since my root systems on the Safari Sky and the Cake Pops and the Snow Leopard are a little bit underdeveloped, this will help. So there you go. Again, remember, there are no, very few, if any, like really hard, fast rules, you know, when doing this. It's called use what you got, people. Right now I got biotone, and that's what I'm gonna use. Okay, so I am actually gonna put my Snow Leopard in last because the tips of the plant can be a little bit more fragile. And Brenda just went and is chasing a squirrel, and we've got a honeybee after us. And it just started raining, so there you go. It is never dull here at Creekside. So I'm gonna go ahead and put Super Tunia Mini Vista White up here at the front. There we go, little honeybee, you enjoy. Then I've got my Safari Skies, 6 to 12 inches tall. Yeah. Bless her. All right. So see, this is not like super roots developed. So we're gonna squeeze these babies in here. I think beside and behind Mini Vista White. Got one. So I'm gonna stick the Cake Pops kind of right here, and then the Snow Leopard is gonna go right here. Okay, my friends, so the second Mangave container is done. In my head, it is going to be absolutely exquisite. I know right now it is small. Remember, think long-term, think vision. Cake Pops, beautiful lavender colors, free-flowing, up, spilling over. Safari Sky, nice and full in here. Nice kind of an airy look. Then the Mini Vista White, nice and full, again spilling over, and then Snow Leopard back here in the back. So this will take us all the way through. For us, it'd be like November or hard freeze, especially with these plants being young. Middle of June here. This definitely is going to be a full sun container. That means it needs to have at least 6 hours of direct sun. Same thing with the other mixed Mangave container. Mangaves are most definitely full sun. If you don't have the full sun, you're not going to get that great color from them. So if you really want the color to pop, you need to have 6 hours or more of direct sunlight. What I need to do maintenance on this, guys, on both of these, is just keep them watered. Katja told me early on, she said, think of a Mangave as far as the watering level like you would a hosta. So you want them moist and they can dry out to an extent, but they like to have a good drink of water. The bigger container you have them in, with the more water you give them, the faster the Mangaves grow. And so snow leopard definitely seems to be one of the most vigorous growers in the collection that we have right now. It's definitely the biggest, and it had the most extensive root system in it. So I suspect that this will take off pretty good. But I do love the green, the white, the purples, all those colors together. The texture is really fun. So if you are interested in Mangaves, we have got them here at Creekside. Gosh, we've got, I'm thinking like maybe 8 different varieties of all sorts of shapes and textures and colors. Super easy to take care of, y'all. Really fun. They just look amazing in your garden and in mixed containers. So when they're small, mix them with other things or put a collection of them together, and then as they grow, you can divide them out and separate them, put them in their own container. Just have fun with it. That's what gardening's supposed to be all about. As always, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for gardening with Creekside. Y'all have a fantastic day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.